God, how cool is this? This is big.
ATF and the government is going to fight this every step of the way. And sooner or later, it will land before the Supreme Court.
The ATF overreach has been stopped once again.
ATF is getting another lawsuit, this time by half of the country.
Basically, they kicked the ATF in the teeth. They seem kind of punch drunk. They seem as though they got the bell rung pretty bad.
It also puts state laws in jeopardy that are similar to this law.
Topics ranging from gun rights and private property laws to foreign property confiscation.
The Supreme Court just dropped a legal bombshell that's about to change everything you thought you knew about gun ownership in America. Right now, as we speak, the rules are shifting beneath your feet, and one wrong move could land you in serious legal trouble. 3 major court decisions are reshaping who can buy firearms, how they can buy them, and what types are even legal to own. Some Americans are about to gain access to guns they couldn't touch before. Others might find their existing rights suddenly in jeopardy. And here's the kicker: you might already be breaking the law without even knowing it. What's happening right now isn't just another political debate or theoretical discussion. This is real, immediate, and it directly affects millions of gun owners and potential buyers across the country. The legal landscape is transforming so rapidly that what was perfectly legal yesterday might land you in handcuffs tomorrow. Let me break down exactly what's at stake here. We're talking about ghost guns, those untraceable firearms you can build at home. We're talking about age restrictions that have stood for decades suddenly crumbling. We're talking about people with certain backgrounds who are permanently banned from gun ownership, potentially getting their rights restored. But before you make any moves, before you place that order or walk into that gun store, there's one critical step you absolutely must take. Skip this, and you could face criminal charges, massive fines, or lose your gun rights forever. I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know, starting with the ghost gun bombshell that just dropped. On March 26, 2025, the Supreme Court fundamentally altered the ghost gun landscape. In a 7-2 decision, they ruled that many of these DIY firearm kits fall under the Gun Control Act of 1968.
Is a massive deal. It directly goes after the ATF's tactics over the last 2 years.
They really don't know what to do with this one, which is always a good thing to see.
This is not a gun decision.
No.
It's not. This was not decided on Second Amendment grounds.
But public safety concerns must be addressed in ways that are lawful.
You couldn't get a firearm and carry it just because you wanted to be protected against criminals.
There is a difference between states deciding how they want to regulate any number of things versus stripping people of their rights to self-defense.
What does this mean in plain English? Those kits you could previously order online with zero oversight now require serial numbers, background checks, and licensed dealers. Justice Neil Gorsuch didn't mince words in the majority opinion. He specifically called out buy, build, shoot kits, noting they're essentially weapons in a box. No heavy machinery needed, no specialized skills required, just basic tools and you've got a functioning firearm. The court said that's close enough to count as a real gun under federal law. This changes everything for manufacturers who now face strict regulatory requirements. Buyers can't just anonymously order these kits anymore. Age verification is mandatory, background checks are required. The ATF's regulatory framework now has the full backing of the highest court in the land. But here's where it gets interesting. The court left some wiggle room. Certain specific designs might still challenge the regulation in lower courts. The decision wasn't absolute, it was targeted. So while the broad category of ghost gun kits now falls under federal oversight, individual products could still fight for exemptions. Now, while that dust is still settling, an even bigger earthquake is rumbling through the legal system. The Supreme Court is currently reviewing a case that could completely redefine who's allowed to own firearms in America.
The court will consider whether people who use marijuana can legally own guns.
Major decision from the Supreme Court that could have larger implications on gun laws nationwide.
We here at the USCCA want to see Congress pass laws that will help reduce crime without infringing on the rights of law-abiding citizens.
House would keep gun owners' information private.
Not giving notice, well, that's required. Well, and when you take that away from people, you don't follow the rulemaking process, and you have to invalidate the rule.
Saying setting a higher threshold in an emergency could mean life or death.
Give us transparency on how you're going to handle them, and if there's a roadmap of what you're going to follow that's more clear, then it's going to be a fair process for everyone.
It's a case that legal experts will be watching closely.
Enter United States versus Hamani, potentially the most consequential gun rights case in years. Ali Daniel Hamani was caught with a Glock 9mm, 60 grams of marijuana, and 4.7 grams of cocaine. Under current federal law, anyone who's an unlawful user of or addicted to any controlled substance can't legally possess firearms. Hamani said that's unconstitutional. Here's where it gets wild. A district court agreed with him. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals backed that decision. Now the Supreme Court has taken the case, and their ruling could affect hundreds of thousands of Americans currently banned from gun ownership. The government argues this law keeps guns away from potentially dangerous individuals. They say it's a reasonable restriction that doesn't permanently strip rights, just temporarily disarms people during periods of drug use. But Hamani's lawyers counter that there's no historical precedent for this ban. At the founding of our nation, they argue, there was no comparable restriction on habitual drug users. The implications are staggering. If the Supreme Court sides with Hamani, countless Americans with past or current substance use issues could regain their gun rights. But if they side with the government, the restrictions could become even tighter, with clearer definitions of what constitutes unlawful use. And that's not even the biggest age-related shakeup happening right now.
Will allow scrutiny for all gun laws pertaining to everything: assault weapons, age restrictions, restrictions on magazines.
The bill allows gun owners 21 years and older to carry a weapon in Tennessee without a permit.
When things sound really good for gun owners in court, that doesn't mean it's over.
21 years and older who are allowed to own a handgun will no longer need a license to carry it.
This is an issue that every gun owner should be concerned about, and we in Congress should be concerned about it too.
This case could reshape how far states can restrict your right to carry it.
The government may not regulate individuals' possessions of weapons for self-defense.
In January 2025, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals delivered a ruling that sent shockwaves through the firearms industry. They struck down the federal law preventing 18 to 20-year-olds from buying handguns from licensed dealers. Judge Edith Jones wrote that historically, this age group was always considered part of the people protected by the Second Amendment. She pointed to early American militia laws where young adults were required to serve and provide their own weapons. The court rejected arguments that because 18 to 20-year-olds lacked certain civic rights at the founding, they should be excluded from gun ownership. This ruling applies the Supreme Court's Bruin test from 2022, which requires gun restrictions to align with historical tradition. The panel found zero historical precedent for barring young adults from purchasing handguns. For the first time at the appellate level, the blanket age restriction for handgun purchases faces serious constitutional challenge. So let's connect these dots, because when you look at all three developments together, a clear pattern emerges. The definition of who can legally own firearms in America is undergoing its most dramatic transformation in decades. Ghost gun regulations are tightening, making it harder to build untraceable weapons without oversight. The pool of anonymous gun builders is shrinking. But simultaneously, if the Supreme Court rules for Hamani, a huge category of currently disqualified people could regain eligibility. And with the age restriction ruling, 18 to 20-year-olds might soon walk into gun stores and legally purchase handguns for the first time in modern history.
This will get appealed, and this might go back and forth a little bit. But for right now, this is where we're at.
For the Supreme Court, it's all about language, reasonable suspicion, objective reasonable belief, or probable cause.
And today, the Supreme Court said that's unconstitutional. That puts a limit on the right to have a gun.
We won't see changes overnight, but it's going to be quick.
This is currently the rule until they decide to change their minds, which they inevitably probably will.
My response to that is that's the same claptrap that they have been using for 20 years.
Everybody has a right if they're a responsible adult.
The legal window for gun ownership is simultaneously expanding and contracting, depending on who you are and what you're trying to do. Your location matters more than ever. These rulings don't automatically apply everywhere. Your personal history matters, your age matters, the type of firearm or kit you're interested in matters. Which brings us to the critical steps you must take before making any firearm purchase or assembly decision in this new landscape. First, verify your eligibility under these evolving standards. Don't assume old rules still apply or that new rulings immediately change everything. Are you between 18 and 20? Your rights might be expanding, but only in certain jurisdictions. Do you have any history with controlled substances? The Hamani case could affect you, but it hasn't been decided yet. Operating on assumptions could land you in serious legal trouble. Second, if you're considering a ghost gun kit, understand the new reality. Confirm the seller is licensed and compliant with ATF requirements. Ask directly about serial numbers, background check procedures, and regulatory compliance. Don't take their word for it. Get documentation. Many sellers haven't updated their practices yet, and buying from non-compliant sources could make you a felon overnight. Third, research both federal and local laws for your specific situation. Supreme Court decisions set minimum standards, not maximum ones. Your state might have additional restrictions, waiting periods, or licensing requirements. Some jurisdictions are already pushing back against these rulings with new local ordinances. What's legal federally might still be illegal where you live. Fourth, seriously consider consulting with a firearms attorney before making any purchases, especially if you fall into any gray areas. The complexity of these overlapping rulings and pending cases creates numerous legal pitfalls. Professional guidance isn't just helpful, it could be the difference between lawful ownership and criminal charges. Fifth, document absolutely everything. Keep detailed records of all transactions, background checks, serial numbers, and correspondence with sellers. If laws change again or you face legal scrutiny, comprehensive documentation becomes your best defense. Store copies in multiple locations. Digital backups are essential. These aren't just suggestions, they're survival tactics in a rapidly evolving legal environment. Skip any of these steps and you're gambling with your freedom, your finances, and your future gun rights. The broader implications extend far beyond individual gun buyers. We're witnessing a fundamental recalibration of constitutional rights in the modern era. Technology challenges traditional regulations through ghost guns and 3D printing. Historical interpretation reshapes contemporary restrictions. The very definition of the people protected by the Second Amendment continues evolving. Every pending case, every new ruling adds another layer of complexity. Legal advocacy groups on both sides are mobilizing for battles that will shape gun rights for generations. Federal agencies scramble to update regulations while manufacturers adapt to new requirements. Gun stores revise policies while buyers navigate an increasingly complex landscape. The future of gun ownership in America is being written right now in real time through these court decisions. Who can buy, what they can buy, and how they can buy it. All of it hangs in the balance. The rules you learned last year, last month, or even last week might already be obsolete. Don't let yourself get caught off guard. The legal consequences of mistakes in this environment are severe. We're talking potential felony charges, permanent loss of gun rights, and serious jail time. But armed with the right knowledge and taking the proper precautions, you can navigate these changes successfully. Stay informed because this situation continues evolving daily. New rulings, clarifications, and challenges emerge constantly. Share this information with other gun owners who might not realize how dramatically the landscape has shifted. Your knowledge could save someone from devastating legal consequences. The transformation of American gun law is happening now, not someday in the distant future. The decisions you make today, the steps you take or fail to take, will determine whether you're operating legally or walking into a trap. Don't wait until it's too late to get informed and get compliant. That's it for today, folks. See you in the next video.